welcome to another episode of Christian Rookie. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if it's the first time, thank you so much for finding the podcast. I do hope that you will be a regular. Today, I am joined by Vanessa Siwawa-Ndai, who is one of the members in my Connect group, and we've also grown to become friends. She is a lover of Christ, of course. She loves to cook. She makes like the best vegan foods that you wouldn't even say they're vegan, and they look so good. Like every time I see them on your WhatsApp stories, I'm like, can I just send it to me because I want to eat it. Yeah, your food looks very inviting.
Thank you so much.
And we call her Care Bear because she's so caring. She's like just always laughing. You really are like you really do bring some light to dark places. If I could say that, you are light. And I feel like
Thank you.
I've
Oh my
said
God.
that to you before. You like I could literally be feeling so down, but just seeing your smile is just like, oh man, Vanessa. So yeah, guys, welcome to
Friend.
Vanessa. Vanessa is here today, and we're going to be talking about the title for this conversation is seeing ourselves through Christ's eyes. It's so important. It's so important that we see ourselves through Christ's eyes and not just seeing ourselves through the world's eyes. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
welcome, Vanessa. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me, Malaka. This is incredibly amazing. When you reached out to me, I was so excited because there's nothing better about speaking on something that you have personally struggled with,
Mm,
and you can just be able to share your experiences in hopes that it might touch someone or it might help someone journey in whatever they are going through, or just actually look at it and reflect on where they've come from. So thank you so much for having me. You are an incredible light to this world. So I'm so appreciative of you, and I'm so appreciative of our friendship and how it's grown over the last couple of months,
right?
particularly.
In this lockdown, the way God does things during lockdown, it's just so amazing. So
It
amazing.
really is.
God has been doing
Yeah.
the most. So, Vanessa, in a world that advertises photoshopped pictures as the standards that we should aim for, plastic surgery, yellow bones, dark skins, there's just always these things and certain types of clothes you should wear. Where should we find like where I don't know how to put it, but in a world that makes us feel like the way that God made me, the way that I am right now is not the standard. In a world like that, how do we cope in a world like that? It's just so hard, when you trying to love yourself as you are, but the world is telling you, nope, this is not how you're supposed to look. You need to go get a bigger bum. You need to go put on some makeup. You need to handle yourself this way. How do we cope in such a world like that? Because that is a very hard world to live in.
It is extremely hard, and it's very conflicting because you get so many voices telling you how to be one way and another tells you how to be another, and at the end you just completely lose sight of who you're supposed to be and where you're supposed to be going.
Mm,
And I think really the one thing that we particularly touched on when we were chatting about this was confidence. And
mm,
I actually realized that I had never Googled the word confidence, but simply listened or taken into account how it was used in the context it was used in all the various places that I've come across the word. So as I was Googling this, and I was like, okay, so let's get a definition of this just to kind of give me a thought starter as
yeah.
to where I should start with this. And the most interesting thing that came out of it was that confidence actually comes from a Latin word called fidere. And this means to trust. So most times we sit out here and we're like, oh, I need to have self-confidence. I need to do this. I need to do that myself. And obviously that means you trust yourself rather than
Mhm.
trusting the maker.
Yeah.
So I think as I was reading that and, I was just, thinking about the kind of scripture that would just maybe set the tone for this was actually I came across Jeremiah 17:7-8, and I'll just read it out to you. And it says, "Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, whose trust is the Lord. He is like a tree planted by water that sends out its root by the stream and does not fear when heat comes, for its leaves remain green, and is not anxious in the year of drought, for it does not cease to bear fruit."
Mm.
So just actually looking at that, I just realized that, wow, that is an absolute beautiful verse because it obviously gives you insights into the kind of person that you want to be in the world. You want to be someone who is rooted, who has a source that's coming into them, and that they do not fear all of these things that are happening around them, and that they are forever green. It's not that they don't shed their leaves, but they're forever green, and they have the knowledge that no matter what happens, even in tough times, they're able to still bear fruit, you know? So for me, I kind of just looked at what the characteristics of confidence could actually look like. And it's really just feeling secure, having that quiet inner knowledge that you are capable. And I think in a world where it's so difficult to relate to a number of things because you're getting 100 different messages, it's then very hard to actually know where to gauge and where your confidence levels are and where you fit in the grand scheme of things. So I would say in that regard, I think you kind of need to carve out an idea of where you have come from, who you currently are, and who you would like to see yourself as. Because I think everybody is able to introspect and actually see the things that they, or see who they are at the core. You know, the thing that is so true to them that they know that no matter what anybody says, that is the one thing that remains true. You can change your shape, your size, you can change, you know, however you look like, but at the core, that's what remains there. So what is it that is at the core? What is it that is holding you? Because then if you're able to find that one thing, I think it'll actually give you a place where, you know, everything flows from. And I think it also stems in the level or your relationship that you have with God, because then everything flows from there. So I think that would be the first place that I would start at.
So we shouldn't have confidence in ourselves, but have confidence in God.
Absolutely. So it's not a self-confidence, but a rather Godfidence, as we would say at church.
Godfidence. I love that word so much.
Yes, they've thrown it around at church, and I think I absolutely loved it. But like just the idea of having that Godfidence to say, I'm not trusting in myself, but I'm trusting in my Maker is the root. Like that is where, you know, you should be planted, and whatever comes from there will actually bear fruit.
Yeah. But now also like in the dating world, I mean, we stay taking it back to that root, I know, but yeah, in the dating world, where like I was saying, there's yellow bones, there's dark skins, there's she has eyebrows on fleek, she got this, she's skinny, she's whatever. There's always all these things, you know, and how do you have God confidence in a world that looks for the outer appearance as the standard of beauty, and they don't really search for what's in your heart, like the beauty of your heart, if I could say that. They're looking more at like how you look, see like, you know, is she showing some skin? Are her eyebrows on fleek? Does she have the hair? Does she have the inches? You know, all of that. And I feel like it's just so hard because I feel like for me personally, I've gone through that where I felt like I had to look a certain way. I have to show some skin in order for me to get that man. But there we go. The Bible says that it ain't about your beauty. It's not about your clothes. It's not about whatever. It's about the inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle soul and a quiet spirit. You know, so how do you communicate things like that to a world that is just all about what they see here?
I think that is a struggle that a lot of people go through, particularly women. I think it's a lot harder for them because they have to keep up, you know, to be able to be noticed, particularly in a world where I believe there are more women than men. So we all want to find that special person. And, you know, it's very difficult. But I think at the end of the day, you need to come back and say, really, what are your priorities, you know? What is important to you and how much of yourself do you have to sacrifice to be able to get to that person. I don't think you necessarily need to completely deviate away from taking care of yourself. Oh my gosh, girl, go for it. You need to feel good. You need to take care of yourself. You need to go out there. But I don't think it should be driven by a need to actually please the next person.
Yeah.
Because you will forever be chasing an illusion that doesn't exist. Because everybody sees you differently, and there might be something that you try to alter that was actually so unique to you that
Actually,
everybody used
right?
to notice, but they never actually said it to you. And most times, it's only when someone is given an opportunity because something has come up that they're able to share with you how much something has impacted you, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we never really know because we never really say, and we then shy away because we're not getting compliments. So, personally, I'm that kind of person. I'm very shy. I don't really interact with people, but it's very funny that when you do get one-on-one situations, someone is actually able to say, "Hey, I think this is really cool about you," and I think those are the things that I value more than rather to get like affirmations from 100 people, but just that one person who says there's this one thing that's special about you actually makes up for everything else. And I mean, I think you should actually also come back to the fact that you've made it this far in life. What makes you think that you are not special?
Mm.
You
Mm.
have made it this far in life. You have done so much. So what makes you think that you are not special at all? So I mean, I think it's really just about looking and understanding what your priorities are and who you want in your life. Do you think you would want someone to work as hard as you are for them just for you to be able to notice them, or would you like it to be something that is actually effortless?
Mm.
So, I mean, as you're sitting there and you're thinking, if I have to sacrifice this much, at the end, what will be left of me? And will you be happy with what's left of you? And if not, then I don't think it's actually worth it at all.
That is so
So
good.
just rather remain where you are and hold on to the parts of you that are so important to you rather than let them go um, in the hopes of actually achieving something. Because, I mean, I don't even think it's a cliche, but they say when you settle, you often settle for less than what you actually settled for, you know? So don't ever do that to yourself. I think it also starts with you. Um, if you're going to make a promise to yourself, keep a promise to yourself because that way you're able to keep promises to others. And then therefore you know what it means when someone keeps a promise to you, you know?
Yeah.
So if you tell yourself that I'm going to love myself at all costs and I'm going to do these things because I value myself and I value myself this much, then people will actually see you there because understand that your self-esteem is definitely rooted in your individual worth or worthiness, but your self confidence is actually your ability to handle the day to day challenges. So if you're able to handle day to day challenges every day, no matter what's thrown your way, so if someone didn't say this or you feel like you're less than, but if you're able to wake up every single day and you have the confidence and the skills to be able to handle setbacks and failures in life, you'll actually begin to see that your self esteem grows, and by so doing, you're actually able to then handle future situations. So your self efficacy actually also multiplies. So
Mm.
it's so important to know that it's a brick by brick kind of exercise. You
Yeah.
grow your confidence every day. By so doing, your worth also grows, and by so doing, you know that you will actually be able to handle future situations. So you
Mm.
literally just keep going and moving forward.
Have you ever had an encounter or situation where you felt like you didn't fit the standards of the world for finding someone, or you just felt like where you feel like, why don't they see me? I mean, I feel like I go through that sometimes. Like, see
it's
me,
an it's,
see me,
it's the
I'm
story
here.
it's the story of our lives. I mean, it's an everyday struggle. Don't you feel that way? Because sometimes it's not really about someone seeing you as a potential partner. It's actually just even in everyday situations, in any relationship, whether it be friendship or at the workplace or wherever, because we innately want recognition or to be recognized, not just recognize in the terms of like you do this so well, but recognize for who you are, like
Yes.
as a human being. You need that because it's I see you and I know you see me and I
Mm.
recognize that and I appreciate that. So it's very difficult where you get to a point where people don't do that and recognize you as a human being. So it's very, very difficult. Like it's something that actually has to come from within. I think like the levels like the so this is where I was actually even just laughing at the fact that what I used to look at people who would say, I think I'm beautiful, and I think, wow, this person is quite arrogant,
Mm.
but it's not that. if someone truly believes that they are beautiful and they see themselves that way, why should you judge them? Because by judging them, I feel like there's something that is lacking within you as well. Why can't you tell yourself that you're beautiful every day?
Yeah.
Why do you have to wait for affirmation from the
Preach,
next person?
sister. Yes.
It's so true, because if you keep doing that, you begin to break down barriers in your mind, because you will then begin to actually visualize yourself as exactly what you're telling yourself you are.
Mm.
And by so doing, you actually give yourself permission to really open up, I would say, flower, and be beautiful. Don't hide yourself because you're so afraid that the world doesn't see you that way. How do you see yourself?
Mm. Wow. And also just understanding that like outward appearances fade. Outward appearances are not, they're not forever. It's temporary, you know. Your teeth might fall off. You're gonna get old, and you're not gonna look as, you know, as great as you look now. Work within. Does that make sense? Work on yourself. Work more, like, let's just stop focusing on how people look. I mean, yes, when you meet someone, of course it's the we see each other. That's how, you know, you probably get attracted to someone. But that's not
Yeah.
all it's about. That's not what it's all about. Like the things you see on social media, like light skinned girls are this, or skinny tall girls, or short, you know, there's just all these things that are just so frivolous, and they're just like, why are we doing this, guys? Like, really? You know, so yeah,
Everyone is
man.
gifted. Everyone
Yay.
is gifted. People are gifted with great bodies. People are gifted with intellect. People are
Mm.
gifted with the ability to create. Everyone is gifted in one way or another, and I don't think it takes away from who you are as a human being. So I think spending a lot of time trying to figure out why the next person is better than you is an absolute waste of your life.
Mm.
I would say try and refrain from it as much as possible, but that actually requires mindfulness. You have to practice this every day, because it's something you get into. It's a mindset. If you're honestly, I mean, I think I was watching something the other day, and it says it's so hard not to compare two things when you put them next to each other. Whereas
Mm.
if they were never next to each other, you wouldn't actually notice the differences. So
Mm.
never put yourself next to someone else. Never put yourself in a certain box where you actually have to sit and compare, because you will nitpick and nitpick and nitpick until you drive yourself insane. So why should you do that? Don't put yourself in a box or next to anybody. Just see yourself as an individual and appreciate the amazingness, the talent, the gifts that God has given you. Work on those and actually embrace them. I was reading a book that actually said, it's called Spike. It says, you know, nurturing weakness is actually hard, but what people don't realize is nurturing strength is even harder,
Whew.
because you have
Yeah.
to sustain that.
Mm.
So it's okay to have weaknesses, but why should you spend most of your time trying to get something that you're not particularly really good at to be good, when you can
Mm.
get something that's already amazing and make it exceptional?
Right?
So rather work on the things that will actually get you to that place where it's like, yes, this is something I know I am amazing at, and I can kill it. I'm going
Mm.
to do this. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Stop focusing on the. First of all, the world will lead you astray. The world, Twitter, internet, uh, you will literally, like, for real though, if you live your life according to what the internet says, what the world says, you will just be lost, because then you forget to look at the gifts that God has placed within you, and you try to change yourself to fit the standards that the world has placed, and that is not who you are. That is not who God made you to be. That is not the plan that God has for you. That is not where God wants you to go. So come back, look at yourself, look at what God has placed in you. Who does God say you are? And just forget about the world. And also just trying to changing yourself for a man or for a female or for, I don't know, for other people, for friends. Let's just stop doing those things, because I don't think it's gonna work.
Absolutely. But let's be honest. When you are changing yourself for reasons that are not right, there's always that nagging feeling that you get, don't you?
Mhm. Mm-hmm.
So that should probably be the voice, the little voice that tells you that whatever you're doing probably doesn't fit very well with your spirit or who you are at the core. So why are you doing it in the first place? And I think it's just being aware of it and being able to call it out while it's still early. I think we often get caught up in these things, and no one is immune to it. We are human after all, but it's just the ability to be very mindful and aware of when it's happening, so that when it happens, you literally stop it in its tracks and say, you know what, not this time. I'm able to recognize this, and I'm able to recognize where it will lead me to, and I refuse to go there.
Mm.
So you have to honestly constantly fight with your inner self to actually become that person who stops everything in its tracks and say, will this actually get me to where I need to be? And if not, cut it out of your life.
Yep.
It's so important to do that. And I mean, I think the more you become confident in your ability to do that, you'll begin to see that confidence actually manifests itself in ways that you don't realize you do every day. It's not about being superior and being able to do something better than the next person, but have you realized that confidence is also hope? The hope to know that tomorrow will be better. It's actually the spirit of carrying the spirit of positivity, being able to say, I believe in something, and having the assurance to say, you know what, this is actually going to happen for me.
Mm.
And knowing that you can actually rely on God to get you to where you need to be. But it's just so important to embody all of these things, because obviously, as I said, confidence actually manifests itself in little day to day things that we might not be actually aware of.
Mm.
So, you don't have to, you don't, if you take care of yourself and you love yourself and your outward appearance is as best as you can get it to be, that's all you need to do. The rest, just work on yourself inside, and you know you'll get there, because whatever you decide you want to attract, you'll actually attract to your life. I don't wake up and think, wow, the world is bad. I know the world is bad, but I don't
Mm.
wake up and think that. So even as I leave my house, I'm not thinking of the 100 million things that could go wrong. I'm thinking of just that one thing that will go right and will make my day, you know?
Yeah.
And it's working for me. I see everything around me that's bad. I don't take it in, and I refuse to do so, because I know that I'll become a very negative person. But I choose to just believe that, there's goodness waiting for me out there. I just need to step out of the door. I need to put on a smile, not a fake one, like an actual
Mm.
real smile that comes from within, because there's joy in the things around me. Have you ever just woken up and felt the sun, kiss your skin, and you're like,
Yeah.
wow, this is
Yeah.
warm. So it's just taking those little things and saying, okay, what actually really matters?
Mm. Mm. Well, I just have to share this verse because we always talking about Proverbs 31 women. Me, Proverbs 31 women. Proverbs 31, verse 30 to 31, it says, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. So it's not about how you look. I mean, the Bible says that charm is deceptive, you know. Yes, she could be looking mighty fine, muscles out, ooh, yay, babe, so fine. But charm, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting. So you're not going to, it's not about looks.
Absolutely. So how amazing is it if people can celebrate your works,
Mm.
but at the same time, you have taken care of yourself, that is like an additional bonus
Yeah.
to the whole package. So I mean, it's important for you to also take care of yourself, not because of anybody else, but
Yeah.
exercise regularly, eat the right foods, drink enough water, um, practice being present in yourself, so that you're not easily swayed, and always stand and or sit in a position, in a posture of confidence, speak well to yourself, because at the end of the day, I think everything is innate. It starts from within. So how you view yourself really is the way you will project yourself to the rest of the world. And
Yeah.
you want people to be able to say, wow, this person is really amazing at what they do, but they also carry themselves with a certain air. So
Mm.
that doesn't mean that you're rocking um the latest bees, wigs, whatever, or you're you're ripped. It just means that the way you carry yourself, no
Mm.
matter what shape or size you are, it is still beautiful,
Yes.
because you carry yourself with such grace, you carry yourself with such confidence. It's hard not to, it's so hard to resist that, because it's like, wow, this person does what they do and they're so convicted and they're so passionate about it that they light up and it emanates from within.
Mm. Wow, Vanessa, thank you so much. This was very informative. I learned a lot. I just want to say to everybody, you are beautiful. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You don't have to conform to any standards. Just be yourself. Look within. Search yourself. Ask God to search you too, and He will reveal to you who He wants you to be. Let us not allow the world to define who we're supposed to be, but let us allow God to define who we're supposed to be. What did you say? What was the word? Godfidence. Have
Confidence.
Godfidence. You know, Godfidence is the key. Thank you so much, Vanessa. I really, really appreciate you having this conversation with me. It was a great one. Thank you.
It's been absolutely amazing. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, guys, for listening. Please do send me an email if you have any questions, any comments you want to say, anything, conversations, topics that you'd like me to talk about. I am all for it. Do share, do let me know. I am your girl, and I am here to answer the questions that you guys have. And I have a lot of people like Vanessa who are willing to just share their experiences and what they know and what they've learned throughout the years. So, yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. From me and Vanessa, it's goodbye.
Bye.